Some 60 Americans, including our fellow citizen whom you just saw bound and blindfolded, are now beginning their 6th day of captivity inside the U.S. Embassy in Tehran.
The country in the Middle East, predominantly Muslim, are seeking nuclear capabilities for nuclear weapons. There's a lot of sanctions on Iran right now from the United States, and China has been, and their president, there's like President Hu, has been talking to Obama about increasing sanctions on Iran as well.
That there's a concern that they're hiding nuclear weapons, and that the U.S. has a concern with that, and that, I don't know, we want to figure out if they have or not, and that's about all I know.
Do you know any Iranian Americans, or do you know anything about Iranian culture?
No.
Do you know where Iran is located geographically?
Yes.
Where?
In the Middle East.
The most direct way that I experience it is that, initially, a few years ago, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to say I was Iranian. I'd kind of play around the question, and people would ask me. And, I got all those insults like terrorist, or like, you're building bombs down there, what's going on? Like, are you a spy? Someone actually asked me that once, like in a serious way. I was like, no, dude. Ever since I found a group of Iranians that really appreciate their culture, I started appreciating it a lot more too. I'm very upfront with people now. I just say I'm Iranian. I've found a balance, between being American and being Iranian. I identify as American, absolutely. I'm an American citizen. I love this country, and I also love Iran. The best way would to be make some Iranian friends, talk to them about it, learn a little bit. When people see constant negative headlines about Iran did this, Iran did that, the atmosphere of fear surrounding Iran is at an all-time high right now. Iranians who live here love their country, America, I mean, and also the people in Iran, most of them have no problem with America whatsoever. We have a organization on this campus, Iranian Cultural Association. We have events all the time. We love to see non-Iranians come and just experience the culture with us. And I think once that starts happening on a greater scale around the nation, a lot of those preconceptions will be dissolved, and people will have a different view about Iran. I'm Amin Qaneh Izabadi. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, raised in the suburbs, and I'm studying molecular and cellular biology at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign.
Iranian Cultural Association can hold many, events that, for example, Nowruz events or Yalda events and many other traditional things that we do in Iran to introduce our culture to other people, especially U.S. people.
Most of the people that live there are Persian. They are descendants of the people who were there from the beginning of the Persian Empire. Something that people may not know, because when Iran is portrayed in the media, it's just kind of shown that everyone is Muslim. That's not necessarily true. There exists a Jewish, a Baha'i, Christian population as well, and Shiraz is one of the cities that has one of the second most largest population of Jewish Iranians. And there are also 2 churches in Shiraz. One's Anglican and one is Armenian.
ای سجاده رنگین کن گرت پیر مغان گوید که سالک بی خبر نبود ز راه و رسم منزل ها.
And it wasn't until 9/11 happened where I started getting negative feedback because of it. They started calling me like camel jockey and like terrorist, like, oh, you were bombing us, you guys did this. Like, I remember the morning of 9/11, I went to class, I was in 5th grade, walked in, and this kid comes up to me and is like, "You hear what happened?" I'm like, "I had no idea because I hadn't seen the news in the morning." And it happened right when class started. And the kid was like, "Yeah, your country did this to us. Your country brought down Twin Towers." It's just sad that we get stereotyped as being like these Muslim extremists and terrorists that do all these awful things, because we don't. We get a lot of bad media from the media, which we can't help, as we're in like this awful region of the world where, even though it's full of history, it's also full of conflict within different political groups. So it's unfortunate that has to happen, because you can relate to people from your own culture on a completely different level than you can others. So I became involved in the Persian Cultural Association. I became the president my sophomore year, and I did a lot of like choreographing and dancing, and just heavily involved in the organization. And I spent a lot of time with Iranian people.
It's a developing country which many people with different culture live together. You can see richness of our culture in everything, like our traditional and delicious food, our courtesy toward foreign people in our ancient and majestic buildings. Moreover, in spite of what media present about Iran, you can see modernism in all parts of Iranian life, especially middle-class families. I hope Iranian Cultural Association can change U.S. people viewpoints toward Iran and Iranian people and show them how much our lifestyles are close together.